Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network, where we get you the latest developments in education at the top of this hour. Today, we are here in a fresh news segment of Knowledge Plus, knowledge sharing session with educators, powered by Education News Network in association with Education Today. Here we are with a fresh topic of mental health and well-being of children during COVID-19. And for this, we have an eminent team of panelists who's going to join us for this conversation from the education fraternity. Let's take a look. Let's welcome our first panelist for the evening. We have Mrs. Alka Kapoor, who's the state awardee and principal of Modern Public School, Shalimar Bagh, New Delhi. She's an empowering leader, zealous educationist, and with a rich academic and administrative experience. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Vibha. Thank you.
Moving on to our next panelist for today, we have Mr. Dilip Kumar, who is the principal of CMCL Vidya Bharati School, Meghalaya. Welcome, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Moving on to our next panelist, we have Mrs. Swarnima Luthra, who's the principal of ASM Senior Secondary School. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Our next panelist for today's evening is Mr. John Xavier Thangaraj. He is the founder and chairman of Little Flower Group of Institutions, Chennai. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, ma'am. Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Last but not the least, we have Mrs. Anupama Ramchandran, who is the principal of Delhi Public School, Electronic City, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vibha.
On this panel discussion, let me invite our first speaker, Mrs. Alka Kapoor. Ma'am, what is your views and take on mental health and well-being of students during COVID-19?
Namaskar, everyone. Thank you, Education Today, and Ms. Vibha in particular, for reaching out to me to discuss this very important topic, that is mental health and well-being of students during COVID-19. It spared no one. There are families who've suffered irreparable losses, be it within the family or friends. There have been job cuts, there have been financial disasters, and much more. I feel as the world has entered what looks to be a deep and long-lasting recession, with families losing sources of income, children sense those insecurities. They have safety and normalcy issues that have been challenged more than ever before. So they may not be able to express themselves, but they are certainly affected with what is going around. When adults are not able to handle this situation with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being, certainly children are more prone to get affected in the present scenario. So children are at home, schools are off, schools are closed. So role of parents therefore becomes much more important than and responsible, I feel, than ever before. Since there is a 360-degree change in the lifestyle of children, parents need to ensure that they try to balance it as much as possible for these children and give extra attention and reassurance to the child that these times will not last long and life shall get back to normal soon. Children were absolutely not used to seeing their parents throughout the day, 24 hours, and that too for the last so many days. So children are uncomfortable. I feel both for adults and children, media is playing a very, very negative role. So exposure to media and social media particularly that heightens anxiety must be minimized for the next few months. When you open any news channel, any social media site, all that is being shown is sometimes fake and sometimes exaggerated news about COVID and its effects. So that gives a sense of insecurity to the parents and that percolates down to the children. Parents need to understand the behavior of children before giving them advice or handling their issues. There are two siblings in a house, both have different temperaments, both need different behavior. So if they are monitored with the same stick, so may that could result somewhere, results may be fatal. I feel close to 99% of the world's children are living with restrictions on their movements because of COVID 19, and close to 21.5 billion children are out of school. Younger children are at a greater risk as high levels of stress and isolation can affect their brain development, sometimes with irreparable, long lasting consequences. So, during times of stress and crisis, I feel children see more attachment, they seek more attachment and be more demanding on parents. Parents also are not used to it. They have their household chores to do. So parents will have to be more patient and discuss COVID-19 with the children in an honest and age appropriate way and prepare them for the forthcoming months, as that we are all globally in the same situation, and that the children are no different. So at this point, I feel the role of parents as important, and I request parents to demonstrate strength and not transfer their weaknesses and fears or the self-pity onto the children, because life is not only about experiences, but how you deal with those experiences. So now, in our scriptures also in Sanskrit, it's clearly said, Jivan Anubhav Dhara hai. So that means whatever our experiences today will reflect on how our children grow up tomorrow. Brick by brick, we make a building. Similarly, experience by experience, we make life. It will be what we make it today. So the strengths and the weaknesses of the parents will reflect on the child, and his experiences of life will determine what quality of life the child will be living. So in normal times, school used to take care of many things, and children used to discuss and share their feelings with their peers, their teachers. But now it is solely onto the parents and the parents' wisdom. So parents have to be extremely wise in handling. My request to parents is that they should reach out to teachers and counselors if they feel the child is in stress or there is some mental pressure with the child or with the parent in handling the child. So, another point which is very, very important is children have exuberant energy, and if their energies are not channelized in the right way, they are most likely to end up doing something that may not be worthwhile or meaningful, or that could even end up in a disaster. It's therefore the responsibility of the ones in the family for to set up a robust routine and schedule for the children at home, for online school activities, playtime, self studies, or recreational activities such as board games, music involvement in household chores, etc. I think children must keep themselves in contact with their friends. Physical distancing does not mean that they have to be emotionally distant. So, socially, they have to remain connected with their friends, with their cousins, with whoever they like to. Children put themselves to risk of unsupervised access to websites which are not suitable for them. They even fall prey to cyberbullying at times, and that could also lead to mental stress. So, parents must ensure that everything is happening in the supervision of the parents. Now, you see, I have shifted the entire onus onto the parents because children are children. Parents have to walk their talk, parents have to be the role models, because finally, children are the reflection of the parents. Students should know that their teachers are always available for them 24/7 to listen to them and to give them a solution. For this, the managements will also have to ensure proper mental health and well-being trainings for all the teachers. With this, I rest my opinion, and I would like to learn from others. Uh, Thank you very much, Vibha. And
Thank you, ma'am. That was a wonderful input on having a conversation with the kids, which has to be an age appropriate conversation about COVID 19 and giving kids space. On the same note, we will move on to our next panelist, Mr. Dilip Kumar, who's the principal of CMCL Vidya Bharati School, Meghalaya. And let us hear from him what his thoughts are on mental health and well being of students during COVID 19.
Good evening, all of you. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, community. So I started with the famous quote, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu nirame, sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma kaschit dukha bhavet. So with the idea of happiness and well-being for all of us, this is our base, Vedic vision. So every teacher is involved in learning in a new situation. We were not expecting, we never expected that we will have to go to a new situation, we will put into new situation. Every teacher, they are not expecting parents to act, rather we are responsible for the well-being of a student. And it is really very nice and touching when you see children doing yoga online, or when you are talking, teacher is talking yoga, teacher is in conversation with the child, and she showing, ma'am, I am going to do this asana, I am doing Vrikshasana, and you see. So teachers, they are working, acting as a mentor. Here the role of class teacher increased. Not only he is working for a good number of students as a mentor, and he or she is in regular touch with the student on daily basis. So our focus is on the side of teacher. You will be happy to note that you see, we have not retrenched, we have not asked, we have not reduced any teacher. We have taken few more teachers because now the job is little bit more, because every teacher is working as mentor or counselor, and they have to on daily basis, on a regular basis, they have to speak to at least 10 or 15 number of a student, either telephonic call or they have to call WhatsApp video call. So these teachers, we are very much concerned about that. If teachers are fine with the training, they undergo into various training, whatever training they can go, they can learn the skill. We are very much in favor of that. And we know that yes, teachers' responsibility is comparatively more than the parents now, though they are staying with the parents 24/7. But whenever they talk the teacher time, that is the time of learning. Otherwise, and they take it seriously, and they share a lot of things is coming. So real creativity is shared by those students during this COVID. Main thing is that rapport which is required, which I was worried that teacher and student connect should not be lost, because you see, if you school, they cannot come to school. The teacher must go to children. School cannot go, but we cannot replace these things with lot of Zoom classes and Meet, Google Meet, and Microsoft Team classes. So we are planning, once we are allowed to start the classes also, we will allow for the teachers. We will provide them a separate classroom, that will be their room with all the support available, and teachers will continue in this way, and we are enjoying, we are learning, parents are happy, and we are able to help the student, because teachers are working as a mentor, they are working as a counselor, they are taking care of well-being, and organization is giving full support in training to the staff members. So this is my take on the COVID. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your inputs, and another thanks for inviting us to Meghalaya. I really felt really special with your invitation. On that note, we will move on to our next panelist for today, who's Ms. Swarnima Luthra, and she's the principal of ASN Senior Secondary School. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, what is your take on mental health and well-being of a student during COVID-19?
Thank you so much, Vibha. I feel my co-panelists have already spoken much about it. I'll start in a different way. I feel we as educators, we always work with head, heart, and hand. And if the three triangle working together, the corner vertex, that means parent, we educators, and the child, if we all are working in coherence and believe that if the parent and the educator, they are working together, then definitely no such case of Sushant Rajput could come all the way. And I don't know what has happened to that child, but still we all have to see our past, what our children are doing these days. Naturally, if the parents, they are keeping their child in a I would say cocoon, they are sitting, then that would be a problem. See, our prime minister has spoken about social distancing, but that doesn't mean that social media and other things are not available. Naturally, every time mobile is available with the kid and parent also, why not have a social connect? Social distancing is must, but social connect has to be there with all of us. And I feel we are educators, all good educators, they are doing their best. And before coming to my slide, I would say what exactly has happened in the past. Naturally, some what is mental well-being we are discussing today. If we are not working with our head properly, then naturally we are mentally ill. Although psychologically this term is quite difficult to understand, but still I would say if we are not if we have filled our head with totally stress part, then nobody can take us out. Then such cases like Sushant would happen again and again with our kids. So we as educators, we as parents have to give that atmosphere to our kids, that every time they are with them, they don't leave their children behind, that some coordination is maintained between a parent and a daughter, a parent and a son, so that every time parent a child feels that I am always with my parent. Although the parents physically they are present or not, but with the heart they are with them. So head and heart I have connected that way. Now the things whatever the school is putting to the child in the form of engaging them, that has to be taken in a positive sense by the parent. And whatever the activities we people do, I feel many parents they don't take it seriously, and many parents they take up. So when the children they take up those things seriously and they come up with various ideas, definitely critical thinking, analytical thinking, decision making, we talk about all those skills of 21st century, automatically they are being inculcated in our kids. Nobody can really push to that, but automatically we are creating those skills amongst our students. So we as educators, we as parents, we all need to create an aura where all thing mental well-being is of prime importance. We need to create that thing. Whatever I know, there are crises of financial crisis is there, economic crisis going on, but still we cannot push our part on our kids. We all need to understand that our job is something different. We all need to give a special aura to our students, to our children, whether they are small or big, in a different sense. Rightly said by Mrs. Alka Kapoor that each size is not equal to all, so we cannot fit everything to the same thing. So each child requires different kind of counseling. So let us start with what exactly mental health is, how to bring mental health to our schools. So we all need to see that set a schedule. I've already spoken. Then eat right and sleep quiet. And identify the positives, that we all need to see what all see. Ultimately, our prime minister has spoken in number of times. Be digital, but this COVID has brought us so much digital that we are talking. We are so far off a distance. Even in if we are in US or somewhere else, also at various corner of the world, still we are able to connect. So identify the positives that's coming on. Then again, time spent with nature. I would say even in gardening. So we can give certain tasks to our students which can bring them to nature and identify in that area itself at their home whatsoever are the birds they're coming. They want mobile phones with them. Then I have given the separate work each day apart from the yoga exercise. My teachers they are sending special 10 questions of mathematics. Then listening good soothing music. And I know children they do like anything. And don't overload on news. We all know what social media is putting these days. I know there are many mishappenings, it's all around, but we all, since we all have to maintain our health in a positive direction, so I would request that don't overload with the news of this COVID. Ultimately we will be in depression. Each day each person is listening something or the other, but by overloading ourselves, what are we getting out of it? Nothing. Rather overburdening ourselves that someday would come, then we all won't be there. let the day become. But why should we bring the date today itself? So I would say that we all have to do something different. Ultimately, family time is the important day. Family time, clean the whole house together, then learn an instrument together. A parent and the child is doing that work. Then talent show, anything parent can do, parent and the child is doing it. Plan to cook a meal together. So engaging children in a different manner can definitely help to overcome such challenges, I would say. Then ultimately, celebration of Father's Day, Mother's Day, Yoga Day, real time experiences coming up. And I'm telling you, children, they are really busy these days doing all such activities. So I would say, although there might be many challenges coming up, but still children have taken up in a very positive manner and bringing the new dimension to this COVID, I would say. But still, we all have to keep our fingers crossed that this COVID should not last forever by maintaining physical distances and social connect with all our children. And definitely a day would come when we will say that our children are at peace. And ultimately, they all have retained their mental health in a positive sense. So looking forward that we will be able together, we'll be able to work, and in silos we cannot work. We all have to work together and bring changes in our students. I can understand challenges are many, but we all are ready for overcoming that challenges, and we together, parent, teachers, and students can overcome it together. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to really present my views in front of education today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful input from your end, and the PPT of explaining about head, heart, and hand was amazing. On that note, we'll move on to our next panelist, who's Mr. John Xavier Tangaraj, and who's the founder and chairman of Little Flower Group of Institutions in Chennai. And let's hear from him what's his take on mental health and well-being of students during COVID-19. So, what's your take on it?
Good evening, fellow panelists, and
Good evening, sir.
particularly Viva Madam. Actually, today we are all discussing about the mental health and well-being of the students during COVID-19 situation. And we educationists, we feel that we may not be able to do something to the community of children. We are highly in need of our support. And the entire situation is so far the entire globe. And we have some templates, what kind of the things is being exercised in across the globe, and what else is possible to our children. We are trying to giving them. The thing is actually, apart from every schools, the conventional practices, what is inside the classroom, what the children exercising is completely struck on daily basis actually. Because we educationalists, we may not be able to glue with our rules and regulations, the so-called all these things. We used to give the tailor-made support to each and every children based on the need actually. The kind of support what we used to give our children is based on the day significance also, based on the celebration, based on the any unfortunate situations. The kind of support what we used to give our children is completely different and designed based on the situation scene and the mentality of the children. The school is not the one that typically giving an education and giving an assignment students are doing. And we know that all our children are very, very brilliant, and particularly students with doing education with the private schools, and the kind of consciousness of all educationists are doing with age appropriate activity, situation appropriate activity, the way in which you are doing and the way in which you're appreciating. So all these things are exercised. Okay. But beyond that, there is required something. That was beautifully explained by Alka ma'am previously, that the biological class of our students, our children are expecting something, and during June. When April may be taken as a comfort that it is a kind of holiday during our regular summer holidays. But when the June comes and particularly the small children, they might search the teachers, their peers, and the add-on experiences when they are coming to the school. All these things is not there actually. As of now, what we are trying to do something through online classes and social media connects, and we try to match up many things. And even the Google is there and YouTube is there, and through which the student have the resources to learn anything. But why they are in need of teacher means they need something special which is from the teachers. That is nothing but the values. But how do we exchange the values through the social media? It's a very big challenge before us. Okay, that value is not in terms of advice demonstration. It is in terms of something like we exchange with the children. Okay, so that's what really even it is not possible through the online education too. um, because we are all waiting for the day when it comes when the school is allowed to have the regular operations with the limitations recommendations with COVID. But so by the time we want to exchange a very big, because the bundle of things what we have to lacking so far, we are going to make it actually. So by the time, what else the society is doing, what else the government is doing, what else the media is doing is completely injustice to the private schools, particularly as of the educationist is concerned. There is one scale for the government school and government school teachers, and another scale for private schools, and this is completely giving a negative input to the children actually. Whenever they are doing the kind of interview, the kind of things what is being shared to the parents and all the children about complete injustice about private schools. The thing is, the right thing is every children is need of a lot of positive things from the education, whereas there's a lot of negative input is completely being given. And slowly I could understand whenever the teachers or private educationists, while we are working to set right the relationship between the father and children, to set right the relations between the government and the parents, to set right the relationship between the media and the society. Okay, our role is very, very important, because as an educationist, that whenever the negative news comes, and we will balance and dilute the intensity of the news, and we have fed our children the way in which they are accepting, the way in which come across that actually, and we have done a very big thing to the society, to the government, to the parent, to the father and the son, and the mother and the daughter, and the society and the parents. But the fail where we really failed is we may not able to market it, and we didn't done sufficient marketing to the teachers, because the kind of teaching community what it has been given to the society is not being made realized in the public. Because when the government, when about fees collection, about the private education, about the online education, everybody is speaking completely negative in the media, in the news, almost in all governments actually, from Delhi to Kanyakumari actually, and I have the connect with a lot of educationists. No government is giving the full recommendation liberty for the educationalists to access the children. Okay, because we are not going to have the conventional access. Just we are going to have the regular interaction only. Whenever we are trying to out for the regular interactions, and they used to connect with the fee, kind of fees collection and all these negative things. Okay, so the what else the drawback what we have is, while we have completely working for the marketing of everybody, we have not having the self promotion about the kind of contribution from the teachers to the society. Okay, we should be very, very conscious about it. Because why I am telling is, if it is so, the society is in it. Actually, the government is in it. And the family practices and everything is not insufficient to set right our children's emotions, and they completely need something to be set right all these things in the form of teachers, in the form of educationists. When we are coming forward, when we are coming forward through the media connect, but there is a very big hindrance in the form of government rules, in the form of society's justification, the media justification about it. So that I'm telling, we whenever we are speaking about, okay, the kind of contribution from each and every educationist to the society, to properly document it in the public forums, then only they can understand the kind of the requirement of good educationist to the children. They should have the voluntary connection with the children. A lot of the one of the experience what I really experienced is to watch the movie with the children. Actually, in the conventional schools, we used to have the chief guest meeting programs, all these things. But everything is really possible through online. But we were not able to go for the real-time experiences. But we try to make up. Okay, for this, the one thing is what is really lacking is the communicating the values to the core. Okay, how to convey the love and how to feel the children to experience the real-time teachers, for which the technology has given something, but beyond that, it is one thing is it is needed. Okay, so everybody is working towards it. Okay, when we are experiencing this continuously, eventually I hope that we will achieve when that plus comes. When that plus comes, for which every teacher is working, every education is working. When that plus comes, it is really obviously possible to separate the children and to maintain that mental health and well-being of the children 100%, like our conventional education. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. That was wonderful hearing from you. Last but not the least, our final panelist for today is Mrs. Anupama Ramchandra, who is the principal of Delhi Public School, Bangalore.
Namaskar to all the esteemed panelists, and a very good evening to Vibha also. So
Good evening, ma'am.
it is indeed very heartening that we have all gathered here to discuss a very relevant issue today, which is mental health, and all the more important because we are discussing mental health of students during the COVID-19. So, just before I begin, I would like to quickly share with you some data that I came across when I was reading up this issue. There has been a study which is called the Lancet study in December 2019. And that study said that at that point in time, 1 in 7 Indians were affected by mental disorders. And a large part of this was our younger generation. And very recently, another study says that in the UK, 80% of the young people with history of mental illness have found that their condition has worsened after the onset of this pandemic. So that is just an indication as to how many people are affected with mental illness, and it can be of varying intensity. Some of them have very slight mental disorders, whereas some of them it could be to a more intense degree. Now, first and foremost, we need to discuss and make it very clear to everyone that mental illness is just like physical illness. Like how when we are, let's say, having fever or cough, we tell everyone that I'm not feeling well, so I'm going to a doctor. We should be equally open about telling people that I am going out to get help because I seem to be having a mental illness. There's nothing to feel ashamed about if you are having a mental disorder, because this is not something that anybody is responsible for. Sometimes the issue is neurological, sometimes it can be situational also. So having said that, we know that the students are going through a lot of anxiety because of the COVID-19, and this is mainly because there is a lot of uncertainty with their future. The younger ones are not going to school, which is regular nature, a second nature to them. They're made to just sit at home. And for the older ones, they really don't know whether this COVID-19 is going to have a consequence on their future course of study. Many of them will have to apply to universities next year. Some of them will have to get into senior secondary school. So they really don't know how this is going to affect their future learning years. So this uncertainty has brought in a lot of anxiety in our young children. And those who already have an issue of mental illness, and those who do not have also, are going through a very stressful phase. So what can we do as adults, as parents and teachers? What can we do to help them to tide over this anxious situation? My only word for this is assurance. We have to give our children a lot of assurance: physical, mental, emotional, as well as social. So when we break it down into simpler things that we can do for them, generally during COVID-19, since we have a lot of time on our hands, we tend to kind of live a very unstructured life in a house. Get up at whatever time you want, eat at what time you want, watch movie till late night, get up late in the morning. So this is not exactly going to help you get over mental illness. even though we are going through stressful times and children are not going to school, it is very important for parents to put a regular routine for their children, a routine with a structure. Like you have to get up at a certain time. It can be a little child friendly and not tell them you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but tell them that at least by 7 you should be up. After you're up, you should do 30 minutes of exercises. You can do yoga, you can do breathing exercises, you can water the plants, you can help your mother in the kitchen. Let there be a structure in the way the kids spend their day. And there should be a particular time, between 7 and 10, you do your school activity. So when children are doing activities, unfortunately, schools are not able to check children's work like they should. So here comes in the role of parents, where they should actually check what the children are doing so that they are enthused to do it day after day. So you should the parents should help the children eat normally. They should sleep normally, because we are also seeing there's a lot of binge eating, there's a lot of junk food eating, and parents are cooking a lot at home. So it is very important to also regulate the kind of food the children are eating, and whether they are getting their 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So having said this, the assurance can extend to having conversations with them. And very importantly, we know that these unprecedented times have ushered in very unnatural times also for our children. Our children are so used to social contact, they want to be with friends, they want to touch their friends and all that. This is not happening. So we have to be very conscious, and we have to recreate this in the best possible way. Even virtually also, we can ensure that the children connect with their cousins, they connect with their relatives, they connect with their friends, so that they are socially assured that you still have your circle of friends. You may not be meeting them, but they're always there for you whenever you need them, so that if they need to discuss anything that they do not want to discuss with parents, they have their friends to connect to. So we have to ensure that they connect with them virtually. And most importantly, we have to manage their anxiety. Sometimes there is no indication that the child is going through anxious times. So we have to very minutely look for emotional cues. There may be irritation, there may be frustration, or they may just be plain without any reaction. So they may be fatigue also, they're getting tired very fast. So we have to really keep a very watchful eye on the children, because these emotional cues are indication that they are going through a lot of anxiety. And the last point that I want to mention here is that the most important is that communication has to be very, very open during these times. The principal has to communicate with the teachers with the children. It is a complete circle. It cannot be one way. Communication has to be two way. We have to speak, we have to listen, we have to share, we have to answer, and we have to give time to each other. So as school heads, we need to make a schedule and say that today I'm speaking to my kindergarten teachers, today I'm speaking to my primary teachers. And in turn, you need to tell your teachers, your coordinators, your subject heads to speak to parents, to speak to children, and just reassure them that it is okay. The whole world is going through this. You're not the only one. If you can handle the situation, it is fine. Otherwise, we are always here to help you. So the bottom line is that we should all work together. The school and the home. We should have a very responsible partnership, because this is not the time to blame each other. This is the time to support each other. This is the time to assure each other that as stakeholders of the school, we will ensure that the children are not feeling anxious, because there are so many rumors these days. So we have to also teach our children that you need to consume only as much authentic news as required, because day in and day out, this happened here, that happened here, NCERT has decided this, CBSE has said no exams. There is so much of bombardment of news which make the children very, very nervous, that what next? What is going to happen to my life next? So we have to train the children to be responsible consumers of news, and just take in what is required. An overdose of anything is bad. So it is with the news also. So without taking more of the time, I would just like to end by saying that mental health is the reality. It does exist, whether you discuss it or you don't discuss it. And as teachers and as parents, it is our responsibility to make the child realize that being irritable, being frustrated, being worked up is okay. We all go through these emotions, and it would be even better if we could help the child name the emotion and say, today I'm feeling very anxious because I heard that the exams, the remaining exams of grade 12 may not be conducted because of the COVID-19. So we need to teach our children to voice their emotions so that we can help them. If they're keeping it, all bottled up in themselves, how are we going to help them? So it's very important that we also tell our children, I am anxious today. I am a little worked up today. I am very happy today. I'm feeling relaxed today. So that children also are able to reflect, or they're able to follow what we do. As adults, we have to be role models of regulating our emotions. I would not use the word control, but we need to regulate our emotions. And as human beings, it is but natural to have a mix of a lot of emotions, especially during these very extraneous conditions. So it is very, very natural and normal to have mental problems. We need to treat it as normally as we would treat any physical problem. So let us all hope and pray that our children come out of this very safe, and we are here as as solid as a rock of as a rock to be there for our children, because we are the ones that they look up to, and we cannot let them down, especially during these challenging times. So I would like to thank Education Today for giving me an opportunity to voice my opinion on a very, very relevant topic and something that is dear to me, mental health of children. Thank you all for giving a patient hearing to me.
So I have a question here. When we say that we can go to a doctor for cold, we can go to a doctor for fever, why is it that when we have any kind of mental issue, that we fail to go to a doctor, or we fail to interact or tell anybody, like, we are having this kind of depression, or we are dealing with such kind of issue? Why is this a case?
Okay,
Vibha, I would like to
let
answer
me
this.
just take, since I mentioned that, let me answer that also. So the reason why many of them are in denial is because there is a stigma attached to the word mental itself. Many a times in school, the scenario also, there are many parents who tell us that, ma'am, please do not label my child as having any mental issues, because in future, they say the girl may not actually get married, the boy may not be employed somewhere, and vice versa also. So there is a stigma attached that if you have any mental illness, it means that you are written off, that you are not worthy of anything. So we need to first work on this barrier, that it is quite normal to have mental disorders, and many successful people do have mental illness. So unless and until we work on this stigma which is attached, people will not be ready to reveal that their children or they have any kind of mental illness.
Okay, Vibha, I I myself an example of this situation. I always called myself a no medicine woman, and I was extremely healthy, both in my mind, physically, emotionally. But then there came a time, couple of years ago, when I thought there was so much stored in my hard disk, literally too much, and I think I had to empty it out. I was not able to meditate, and finally I started getting panic attacks, and I thought I started getting health insecurities, a lot of health insecurities. So I did not hide it from anyone, and in spite of all the no's coming from all directions, like my family, my friends, they said, nay, don't go to the counselor, don't go to the doctor, don't go to the psychiatrist or whoever. I think I took a call myself. I went, I discussed, I spoke my heart and my mind out, and I started with some very mild medicines, and I started reliving. Personally feel any child, any individual, any human being who feels there is some kind of distress kindly reach out to your family. If that also doesn't work, as I said, if plan A doesn't work, go to plan B doesn't work, go to plan C. We have unlimited plans in hand. So do reach out to the experts.
So, ma'am, we've seen during the recent times that during hard times it used to be, even if we are stressed because of our education or because of life, we spoke out to people. We never took extreme steps of the way Sushant has done. So, what do you think the younger generation is not capable enough with coping of stress that they go to such kind of extreme steps?
See, Vibha, who teaches them this? Who gives them this stress? When the children are young, the normally the parents and the teachers say, I don't know why there is no pressure on you. It's your examination time. पढ़ लो, तुम्हें घबराहट नहीं हो रही, मुझे हो रही है. The mothers, the common statement is, मुझे घबराहट हो रही है, तुम्हें क्यों नहीं हो रही? So who is teaching them to be stressful? And when they end up doing certain things, or when they end up getting stressed, the parents only say, अरे घबराने की क्या जरूरत है? But वो घबराना word किसने दिया? Now I would differ with Anupama a little bit here, that we have to teach our children to be anxious, that I have to tell them I am anxious. When I say a child is the reflection of the parent, from day one we have to start giving them the positive words, that no matter what, no matter things don't go our way, but yes, I am strong, I will handle it, I shall overcome one day. Tell the child, the 3-year-old child, no matter what, you are the best. You do it you this way, nothing is wrong, every way is the right way, every question is the right question, there is no reason to be embarrassed or to keep quiet. I think that's the confidence we need to give to our future generation, and that's
But
the way.
do you think that somewhere the parents do play a very important role in portraying this to their kids?
Not just the parents, not just the parents, not just the parents, each individual of the society, be it the neighbor, be it the teacher, be it the support didi in the house, every single person, because every child is born like a diamond. You know, you got to chisel the rough ends to for the child to sparkle, rather than we are putting dust on it by our negative thoughts. I think we should just, every child will blossom. Someone will blossom at 5 years, some at maybe 8 years, some at 10 years, because one size does not fit all.
Absolutely. On that note of one size does not fit all, we come to an end of this conversation. And I had a wonderful session. It was really a brainstorming session with all you eminent educators who joined here. And I'm sure you guys have also enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, talking to all of you on this topic. Thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful conversation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Vibha,
you.
for
Thank you,
connecting
Vibha,
to these lovely
for
people,
having
and
us
thank
here.
you so much.
Thank you so much to all the educators for being a part of this wonderful session. I'm sure you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, talking to all of you all. It was wonderful having you on board. For more such videos, do log on to the enn.com. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For now, signing off, Vibha Raj. Thank you.